we're going to discuss Den of Iniquities, among other things, with Kinyanjui. Is that right, Sophia?
Yes, indeed. Den of Iniquities is one of the many books that Kinyanjui has written. We're talking about that and, of course, so much more. So, karibu sana, Kinyanjui. Good to see you.
Asante, Sophia. Thank you for having me.
Karibu. Yeah. And it's a big day today with your book as well, Den of Iniquities. We'll talk about that. But how are you?
I'm good.
How was Easter?
I'm good. Easter was good. It was a relaxing time for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoyed the long break?
Yeah.
So other than writing, because you've written quite a number of books, you're also a banker. I didn't know that about you.
Yes, I'm a banker. Actually, that's my 8 to 5 or sometimes 7 to 7 job.
Yeah.
I work as a learning manager in one of the international banks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk to us about Den of Iniquities. What is this about?
Den of Iniquities is actually my newest novel right now.
Yes.
And it's about I call it a what if book. It's about the relationship between police and citizens.
Yeah.
Relationship. We have all these issues of extrajudicial killings. So it's a what if book. Every day we hear news that 2-3 people have been shot dead by police, and we just get the face value. Yeah. So I come back and ask myself, what if those people are not actual criminals? What if there's a cartel or a gang or not even a gang, or a squad that has just been formed to just terminate robbers?
Yes.
So it's a what if book. Yeah. So here I have 3 different characters whose lives are intertwined, yet they're so different from each other. Yeah.
Okay. And you've written, there's 4 parts to it. The first part has a whole different, storyline, second and third, and then they merge at the end. How is it you're able to do that? Because, in putting together a book, when you have different faces and then bringing them all together, how hard or easy is that?
I think mostly it's what I do is that I try to establish, first of all, the characters. These characters are going to do us to tell my story. So once I establish the characters, I find out what is a common thing that they have. So here I have a mugger, a person who actually just mugs people for a living, and he likes it. He's actually very happy about the genes that his father gave him. And then I also have a construction worker. So those 2 people, in normal circumstances, you don't expect that they would actually meet. Right. So I try to build a plot where now they meet. Where would they meet? In a prison cell. Yeah.
Okay. And it's interesting that this book is coming at a times where security in itself is, a big focus of importance to Kenyans. There's a lot that's going into that. The soups have been happening. And talking about this and touching on extrajudicial killings, there's been also focus on the police and as far as their conduct is concerned. What inspired this? How is it you got down to writing about this?
Actually, what inspired this, funny enough, is not this what is happening right now with the security situation.
Right.
It was an event in the year 2007. When I read there's a report by Professor Alston, who is the UN rapporteur on extrajudicial killings, and he said that more than 500 youth have been killed by police with those squads, by those police squads, the Kwekwe squad and other squads. And that struck me. When I went to do my research in Dandora, I found lots and lots of families who say, my son was just picked from the house in the morning, and later on we saw in the news that he had been shot dead after a botched robbery. And that struck me. That actually made me want to write a story about it, about the what if. Yeah, because in most cases what happens is somebody like that, when they're shot, and this is the version you get from the police, they're not there to defend themselves. So most of the times, and you'd perhaps say even the media would go with the narrative that would be put out. Definitely, because in the past actually you used to get media saying 2 suspected robbers were shot dead. Nowadays you see a report, 2 robbers were shot dead and accomplices disappeared. So how did the media know they were robbers? Who has the duty of being the arrestor, the executioner, the judge? Why did we give one person that duty?
Okay.
So that's the main question that I'm asking.
That you're asking. And what do you hope to achieve as people, get a hold of the book? What is it you hope they'll get from this?
Actually, the most important thing is to ask themselves, what if? So what? Because actually the story has no ending. A lot of people who've read it, and I've done about 600 copies of the book so far. A lot of people who have read it have told me, that book has no ending. Because I think really the thing is for the ending, for the reader to actually come up with an ending. What if?
Okay. And how long did it take you to write it?
Actually, it's 8 years in the making.
Really?
The actual writing took about 3 or so months, but the story has been cooking in my mind for so long.
Okay, interesting. And today is the official
Yes, today
launch.
we release it to the public now,
Okay.
Together with my other colleague called Kapkirok.
Yeah.
He has a book called The Heart is a Reluctant Nomad, and they're doing a book launch and a book harvest today in the evening.
When you say book harvest, what do you mean?
We support a library in his home area called Chamage Secondary School, and he has built a library for the school. So what we're trying to do is to get our friends to come with books. Then you can donate to that library.
Nice.
And the guests we've invited for the launch, even if you don't have a book, you don't have a book to donate, you can actually buy either of our books. And also our publishers, Longhorn, will have books that you can buy and donate to the library.
Yeah. And this is not the first book you've authored. How many have you penned down so far?
I like saying 6, but actually it's 5.
Okay.
I've done 5. It's just that this children's story called We Can Be Friends has 2 versions. One is the Rwandan version, the other one is the Uganda version. So this is the Uganda version.
Okay.
So I say 6. In actual sense, there are 5.
When you say Uganda version, what's the difference with the versions?
It was written for the Uganda market. So we have Ugandan names, Ugandan names of people, Ugandan phrases, and the Rwandan version as well. It has Rwandan characters, Rwandan towns.
Okay. Have you lived in those countries, or how is it you're able then to be able to have an understanding of what would appeal and communicate to them?
For Uganda, mostly is I have a few friends who are Ugandans.
Okay.
And actually got a few of the phrases from there.
Right.
I've been to Uganda a bit, so that actually helped me. For Rwanda, I've never been to Rwanda.
Yeah.
Although the book sells actually more in Rwanda than in Kenya.
Or does it?
Yeah, it
We
does.
should all go to Rwanda.
I need to go to Rwanda. Maybe I'll make more sales there.
You should. Perhaps it's going to sell better. A den of iniquities for you, Rwanda as well.
Yeah.
So when do you get time to write? Because, I mean, writing in itself, I imagine, is not, simple task. It needs quite some. And it's interesting, as you've mentioned, this book, as much as the actual writing was 3 months, it's been 8 years of it cooking in your mind. But you have a, day job. So do you write at night?
I write at night or during the weekends.
Okay.
Yeah, what I've done is that a friend of mine called Anthony told me that the easiest thing is not to kill yourself, that you want to do a novel by next week. It's just to break it down into a set number of words in a day. So we started with 300 words per day. If you do 300 words per day and you do 30 days, you'll have 1,000. You'll have 10,000 words. So if you do three months, like I did 1,000 words per day, and I did then in 40 days. This has 40,000 words. And then I got now, the revision, the rewriting and everything took the other 2 weeks or so.
All right. And how did Kinyanjui start writing? The first time you ever sat and put something down and then started discovering this love of writing and to date?
Actually, funny that I didn't start as a writer.
Okay.
I started as an artist. I used to draw. So I used to draw comic books based on Paul Kelemba's work and Frank Odoi, and I had my own character called Joki.
Okay.
Joki was my superhero, and I started by drawing comics. Then later on, I did a novel when I was in high school. It got lost. It was on foolscap paper. When I went to campus, I wrote a short story for a competition. When I gave to my lecturer to read it, instead of him telling me, this story is like this, he actually came and read it in class. So it was the best story he's ever read.
Wow.
Yeah, so that inspired me. He even gave me a number for a publisher.
Yeah.
Yeah, my first publisher.
That inspired you to write, because many times, Africans have been criticized, or it's been said that if you want to hide something, put it in a book. Do you sense that is changing with time, or are we still very difficult people to get to read?
I think it's changing. I think what has been the problem is that the access to the books, because if a normal in your day-to-day life, you don't just go to a bookshop and buy a book unless you're a very avid reader, or unless you're going for a specific book in mind.
Yes.
So what I've done is that I've tried to find out how better can I distribute my books? With Den of Iniquities, I've actually done the distribution myself. I've done 600 copies now, and we've not yet launched the book. So basically, all this means is that given the right books at the right price and the right way, people are going to buy books. I also partnered with the Tuskies. So now as you're buying your bread, your normal shopping, you actually see a copy of my book and you can buy it.
And you can
rather than waiting until the day you'll go to the bookshop.
But also think one of the really good ways you've gone about just, putting word out there about your book is I got, for example, a copy of your book and quite a number of people, and you get other people to talk about your book as well. And I think that is a brilliant way of just putting word out.
Yeah, exactly. Because we've had ambassadors, people who read the book and actually they like it, they can tweet about it. And that's very, very important.
Okay. So one of the things you've written here, the dedication, you say, I'm eternally grateful to my wife, Alice, the woman behind my successes. And I know you recently had, a difficult time health-wise for your wife. How is she doing? And perhaps if you can tell us what exactly happened.
Yeah, she's much better right now. She's recovering very, very well. It's actually a miracle. What happened is that last year we were getting our third child. We have 2 children, we're getting our third child. And when the labor came, it was too sudden and too painful, too powerful. When we went to the hospital, she had to go into an emergency CS. The challenge is that she lost so much blood. Actually, that on the operating table, they use 16 pints of blood, which is way more than what a normal woman has. Then she went straight to ICU. She was in ICU for 12 days. It was quite a difficult time. We also lost the baby, unfortunately.
Very sorry
still
about
trying to recover from that psychologically.
But also that trying time, you did use the power of social media to just rally people around this to get blood for your wife. How is it that idea came up?
When I went to she was in ICU and the hospital told us that we need blood because already they've exhausted all the blood they had. We had to get 22 pints of blood, and the first told me to look for her immediate relatives, her sisters, her brothers, people who can actually be available. And my initial thought was that those people are right now they're not available. I have to start looking for them. They may not be in a position to come immediately to the hospital. So I remember telling the laboratory person that I've called them, but I've also sent a request on Twitter and Facebook for people to actually come and donate blood or positive blood. The funny thing is that they just told me, no, Twitter doesn't work and Facebook. They just like your update and retweet, but they won't come. Funny enough, when he actually left for lunch, because he said that, you call those brothers and sisters, I'm going for lunch. When he came back, he found more than 200 people waiting to donate blood.
Wow.
Within the first 3 days, we had 56 pints of blood. From social media. People were actually shocked me because sitting there in the lab, because I had to help them fill the forms. I actually had to take charge of the blood donor unit because I was now helping them fill the forms to ensure that, also to do some screening, because I realized that a lot of people were coming and they were being turned around. There's a lady who came and she was breastfeeding. So she said, I didn't even think about
but the willingness.
But the willingness. Someone who actually came and sat there, donated blood, and then they were asking themselves, but who is Alice? And they don't even know who is Alice. And they told me they just saw it off Twitter and they just decided to come.
Wow.
It's a lot.
We have some great Kenyans.
Nowadays I actually tell her that I can't even be tribal. Because I have a lot of tribes blood runs in her veins, and when it comes to that, actually, and as a country, we can go very far if we realize that how close we are. Because when I see her, I see blood, all races. Actually, people from all races came to donate blood.
Wow. And what did you pick from that whole experience? I mean, it's a trying time for a family, for you to have put word out there, everybody shows up, other than the fact that, you have some really great people, but also just the power of social media and what we have in our hands and what we can do.
The one is that there's a lot of power in social media. So that was a very key learning point, And then number 2, never to take people for granted. Don't take people for granted. People will do anything for you.
Yeah.
Then also the as a country, they're rallying together, because people who are talking to me, asking me, even people right now, people who are strangers, asking me, how is your wife? How is she doing? Can you come see her? Some people from Twitter actually were requesting to come and stay with our other kids as I look after my wife in the ISP. A lot of volunteers. So as a country, when you have an emergency or when you have something like that, actually it brings us together. So we forget all the things about tribe.
Yes.
They are things that are superficial.
Yeah.
I think tribe is overrated. Deep down, we are one.
We are one.
Yeah.
And it reminds us of Westgate. And, you know, that's what came out again, you know, despite, no matter who it was, despite the differences, that coming together. And it's a hope that that could continue and would continue in normal days as well.
And actually, when you talk about Westgate, actually Westgate was actually part of our undoing, because when we were looking for blood, we could not find her blood, because a lot of people who had donated for Westgate could now no longer donate, and the blood that was there had already expired.
True.
So, and then because O positive is the most actually it is the most common.
Oh, okay.
By that time, they're actually using it to give the other blood groups. So it was actually at a shortage that time.
Yeah.
So we had quite a challenge, but again, we got a lot of support.
All right. And we thank God she's well.
Yeah, she's well. She's very, very well. She's actually watching right now.
Yeah? Saying hello. Let's go back to your writing. And you're also running a project at Daystar. I've seen quite a number of the tweets and, you know, some of your activity. Tell us about the Academy.
What happened is that last year we had what we call the Authors Buffet, basically getting together authors and give them an opportunity to speak with their readers. And we did that at the Junction very successfully. Had more than 1,000 people coming and spending time with the writers. We had all the big names in the writing industry: Binyavanga, John C.B. Okumu, Anthony Gitonga, Bonnie Kim, Winnie Duke, a lot of writers.
Yes.
And then we felt that we need to do much more than just have readers come, spend a day with their writers, and then go away. What do they take that? So we partnered with Daystar University, Performing and Languages Department, and they agreed to actually do a course with us. So over the last 14 weeks, we've had the Creatives Academy, which is a practical course, and the difference between it and other creative writing courses that is not academic. Instead of having lecturers who are just coming to talk to you about the theories of writing and everything, we have people who actually have written. So instead of let's say having somebody come to talk to you about script writing, we had Martin Munya, who is a producer, to actually come and talk about how he does it. We had Ken Walibora talking about the mechanics, Ngangambogua. We had Terian Chebet come and speak about, you know, branding. How do you brand yourself as a writer?
Yeah.
And we had the Bloggers Association coming to talk about blogging. So it was actually a practical course. 14 weeks. We have had very good stories.
Yeah. I can imagine learning from the best of the best in the industry and getting that first-hand experience and, you know, just lessons from you. So it's something something you're going to continue doing, or is it a one-off?
I don't think it's a one-off. Right now that we are out there, we can't do a one-off, because already people are asking us, when is the next Creatives Academy going to happen? And once we get the funding that we need, you know, in order to just have all those writers together comfortably, we are going to do another maybe season 2.
Okay. And I've noticed, you know, for some authors, they'll write a book, put it out there, sell another one. But for you, there's always efforts to ensure that you and other authors are coming together, doing events together. What motivates that, this, you know, numbers coming together as authors, different authors?
I think it's the power of numbers. When we did Authors Buffet, I sold all my books. Actually, Authors Buffet, I was supposed to be just by myself. I had been invited by Textbook Center to do a book signing. They normally do a book signing. Then I sat together with my friend called Anthony, and we said, why don't we just do a collab? Before you knew it, you had all those. We had now 13 more authors. And we actually found that whenever we were doing it, people came prepared to see 13 authors, and they came with enough money. So the book sold out. John C.B. Okumu's book sold out. My book sold out. But when I do it as a personal venture, people may come to speak. When you're doing it as true, people may come to buy because of John C.B. Okumu, but then they see this book, and as they're flipping through, they see the book and they feel, let me
Yeah.
let me buy it. So there's strength in numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And who's your all-time favorite author? Who do you read most?
Major Mwangi.
Who?
Major Mwangi.
Major Mwangi.
Major Mwangi. There's a book he wrote called The Cockroach Dance.
The Cockroach
He actually describes a cockroach, and you can actually see it.
Wow.
Is that good?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What is it else? What is it about his writing or about his style?
Basically, his description. He tells you about characters, and you can actually, they are real. You see them, and I would like to be as great a writer as Major
As
Mwangi.
he.
Yeah. I also got inspired by a book by Sam Kahiga, Paradise Farm, which is a very, very good book. I wish that one day I would be able to do a remake of the book now in modern times.
Okay.
That's my project after the next three.
After the next. So there are already books cooking in your mind right now?
Yes, I'm actually writing a book called Hocus Pocus right now.
Hocus Pocus, what's that?
It's Hocus. It's a corruption of the word Hocus Pocus, but now this time it's Hocus. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's already in the works?
It's already in the works. Should be ready by June.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have your day job and you write as well, quite a number of books out, and the sales are happening already. But would you say one can make a living off of just writing, or do you find that you still need your day job to still live the life you want to live but still pursue your passion?
I think I personally, I don't know if I would make a very good full-time writer, because when you have nothing to do but write, I think that would be a challenge for me. I feel that, like, we have, even if you have 1 million people buying your books, if you just are able to market to 1 million people, then you can comfortably make more than you're actually making in the industry. For me, banking works for me because it actually complements my writing.
How so? So strange. The money,
Yeah, because what happens is, because I have limited time, I tend to make use of the time that I have if I'm not in the office to actually do more writing. And when I'm writing, because I know I don't have the whole day to write, I only have maybe 2 or 3 hours, I can actually focus and get away from all the other things that actually conflict with what I'm doing right now. If I was doing it 100%, I would probably, stop writing, look at what's happening on Twitter, what is trending and all that, rather than writing. So I find that when I write, because I'm doing some other things, apart from that, I'm also an entrepreneur. Yeah. I also very much actively involved in my in my alma mater, Kenyatta University activities. So I find a lot of things that I do. So because I have limited time, I have less than 5 hours to myself, then I focus much more.
Okay, yeah. But it is possible, you'd say, in Kenya now possible to make a living off of.
It is possible. Writing. I know my friend Anthony left the bank to actually just write, and he has 5 books for the next 2 years, and he's making quite a good amount.
What for you is the most challenging part of all this, of writing, of putting out books when they're cooking in your head, and until you have the official release like today? What's the most challenging part of all that?
The writing itself, actually, is not a challenge. It's actually how do you get yourself out of all the other distractions so that you can write. That's actually, for me, is very, very, is a challenge. Okay. Because there's so many other things. There's work, there's family, there's business, there's all these other people, there's social media. Yeah. How do you, people ask me, I respond to all my tweets. Yeah. So somebody asks me, where can I get a book? I have to respond to that person. And that's the same time I'm writing. Okay. Yeah. In terms of when the book is out, actually, is the marketing. Because we don't market creative fiction writers as well as we market textbooks.
Okay. Yeah. And the balance, I guess, then is the trick with you. Yeah. How do you balance that all out? You have your family, you have banking, you have writing, you have your other businesses, you have your friends. Where's the balance?
One is what I've found successful for me is actually finding out what is urgent and important. Okay. So I put in the urgent and important list. So if I'm for now, writing is not urgent and important for me because I don't have a deadline. But the day my deadline comes at maybe towards June, it will be urgent and important. I'll stop everything else and do that. Then I find what is not urgent, what is not important. I put in another cube. What is important but not urgent? Yeah. What is urgent and not important? I actually put my things to do in those categories.
All right.
Yeah.
And those who are up and coming, they're watching you and they're like, that's what I want to do, to write. It's my dream. It's my passion. I have all these stories I want to tell. How to get started? What do you tell that, not even probably even a young person, just somebody who's somewhere and they're thinking, I want to do this?
My advice is what actually my mentor tells me. My mentor is David Muller, tells me that keep writing. That is the only, you can't call yourself a writer if you're not writing. I call myself a banker because from morning at 7, I get to the office, I go into a bank, and I leave in the evening from 5 p.m. I'll be leaving a bank, so I'm a banker. So you cannot be a writer if you're not writing. You need to be saying, I'm writing a book called, or I'm writing a poem called, so the first thing is actually to write. The more you write, the more you get better. And to get a team of people who are what you call accountability partners. If you read my acknowledgements, there's a whole list of people who actually read my work before I take it to the publisher.
Right.
And they give me all feedback. They tell me that book is very bad, don't take it to the publisher.
Yeah.
They tell me change
They're
one or two
honest
things.
and blunt with you.
They're very, very honest. In fact, one of them is Dr. Odhiambo of Nairobi University, who last week did a column, and actually he beat me up because of some errors in the book.
Yeah.
So he's blunt.
He's blunt, and everybody needs one of those.
Yeah.
But also for beginners, the challenge, I guess, is on publishing and getting funds to put all this together. What advice do you have in that front?
Okay. First, the funds are only up to by the time you have your work in Microsoft Word. You don't need to pay any money to get published. So in terms of funding, you just need to get a computer or access to a computer and actually just type your work. Once that is done, then the work remains on the publisher. The thing also is to find a publisher who publishes the kind of work you do. When I did this book called Ongare Madai, I actually discovered that Longhorn have a series for famous people, a list of children's biographies for famous people. So it was easy for them to accept my manuscript because I have a story about a famous person. They would be interested. So one of the things is for you to, if you want to talk about, let's say, Christianity, you'd rather, or something motivational, you'd rather go to a book like a publisher like Word Alive who do that. If you have a creative fiction, you can go to Longhorn, East Africa publishers. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And how do writers here in Kenya, authors, compare to others outside? Do you say, especially in more developed countries, when you compare the kind of work we see from that side and here, and also in Africa, how does Kenya compare?
I've not done much comparison. I'm guessing you're asking about how the public
yes, in terms of the kind of work they'll put out. Is it more fiction? Is it more of what's really happening? And also just how their work is received. In Kenya, you said that is improving. But how so?
The work, how it's received, is basically about the marketing. The same way you market bread, we need to market our writers. You know, if you've not heard about a particular brand of bread, when you go to a supermarket, you're not going to see, you're not going to buy it. But if you have heard about it, so I think it's about the marketing. Or someone like Chimamanda, the publisher has done quite a lot in terms of branding Chimamanda, so that a book that she's releasing, like when she's releasing Americana, there are so many people who actually were waiting for the book, so it actually sold out very well. In terms of content, it's basically the same content. A lot of people talk about what is happening in the society. If right now what is happening is the Somali, the soups in Somalia. Someone has written a very nice blog about it. So you write about what is happening.
Okay. As we bring this to a close, we have Mwangi who's saying your story is inspiring. Where can we buy the books? And of course, I guess how much?
My books are actually very pocket friendly, and that's why I said, given the right price and the right book, people are actually going to buy. This book is retailing at 400 shillings, and it's going to be available from tomorrow. Textbook Center and any other bookshops. Textbook Center are very good friends of mine. They support my writing, so they'll have this from tomorrow. Den of Iniquities is 400. Villains of Molo is 400, inclusive of tax. Wangari Maathai also is available. We Can Be Friends and Lost But Found. This is a book for small kids below the age of 5 for safety. You know, there's a lot of kidnapping, people disappearing, small kids. So it's good for them to know what do you do if you get lost.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
And I love that it's, as you said, very kid friendly,
Yes,
with
yes.
the pictures, and it's few words per page.
Yes, yes.
Big characters as well, so to just be able to get an interest and attract the readers. So that's pretty cool, especially for now when kids are on holiday.
Yeah, it's good. If, the good thing with the pictures is that it allows you to start having discussions with your child about, what do you do if you get lost?
Yeah.
Why should you not take lifts from strangers or sweets and all that?
Yeah. Okay.
So all these books are available at all leading bookstores.
Bookstores. So 400 bob, pocket friendly for sure.
Very pocket friendly.
Somebody can grab that. Yeah, because you find that many people would, read and then be like, okay, I'm going to wait for so-and-so and borrow their copy. They still have that culture.
Or even worse, photocopy.
Oh, photocopy. That's bad.
I was telling somebody that I went to a university and somebody gave me a photocopy of The Last Villains of Molo. They were studying it. It's been studied in several universities. So and they actually gave me the photocopy. To autograph. So my thinking was, if somebody has the audacity to bring you a copy of your book to autograph, it means they don't know it's wrong at all. It's a culture, yeah.
Wow.
And that is what probably is causing us not to be driving Land Cruiser VXs.
Because of those kind of tendencies. Yeah. But you've touched on The Last Villains. I know we've had it on our book review, but if you were to just go back to that, and it's quite a widely read book, what are the lessons to draw from that? What is it about?
The Last Villains of Molo is based on the clashes in 1992 in Molo. When I was doing my research, I discovered that a lot of more people were killed in 1992 than in the post-election violence in 2007.
Wow.
Yeah, and when I did my research, I did a book that actually has the conflict itself, what actually happened, and what were the tribes saying. There were two major tribes, the Kikuyu and the Kalenjin, and it's actually a book about reconciliation, much more about conflict, but also about reconciliation. How can we unite as a country? And it's been very successful. We've had it done in several Kenyan universities. Somebody at Harvard has also done it as part of the PhD, and also University of Sussex in the UK, Berlin, Germany, and right now we are scripting to film.
Okay, that would be nice. How does that work?
I got into an agreement with Dreamcatcher Productions, and actually doing the scripting for the film. Hopefully that we can have a film out soon.
That would be very amazing. That would be very cool. Watching events unfold the past 1 year in the country, terrorism has really just grabbed attention of the country, the leadership, the citizens. There's a lot of that security talk going on, but also when you look at parts like Turkana, there's a lot of discovery that Kenya, as it marks 50 years, we're still discovering ourselves as a country. You never fully perhaps have an understanding or mastery of all that you have. It's an ongoing process. And various challenges in different sectors. I mean, healthcare has its own. If there would be a book that would capture, especially this time when Kenya is 50 and all the different things that are happening, what do you think, if you were to write something about that, what would it be about? How would it be? What stories would you focus on if we're looking at Kenya now as modern day Kenya?
I would want to talk about the hope, because Kenyans are very hopeful. Yeah, you saw even the way we went and queued. Despite all those issues about worries about violence, we actually went and queued. So Kenyans are very hopeful. I would want to do, people have said that I write very sad stories. So I would want to write a happy book for us, a book probably in Turkana, with the hope of, all this is happening. We have the oil, we have water. You're actually sitting on water. So I'm just imagining if I was a farmer or somebody living in Turkana, and I have my own piece of land there, and I'm getting all these people coming from Nairobi wanting to buy a piece of my shamba because there's water in beneath or there's oil in beneath. I'm just thinking about the hope that is there. I think it's a story of hope. We have challenges. True. We have a lot of challenges.
There always will be challenges.
And there always will be challenges because one challenge grows to another. Okay,
a story of hope. So how is it, before we go on break, you've always or mostly written, do you agree with that? People saying you write sad stories. Is it true? Mostly?
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. It's feedback I get from a lot of people, so I guess it's good. I like feedback a lot. In fact, on my books, the first thing I write is my personal email address.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of that feedback, and if 30 people are saying that your books are sad, then you know there must be some sadness.
Well, I'm looking forward to the one we've just talked about now, Hope. Let's say something. It would be interesting to read about a story and have some Turkana elements of that hope that I feel is in that part of the country, despite the struggles they face. It will be interesting.
Yeah.
No, I'll bill you later.
Yeah. We can actually do a co-writing.
Kinyanjui Kombani, thank you so much for being with us this morning on Morning Express. Den of Iniquities is out on bookshelves from tomorrow. From tomorrow, 400 bob it is. Regards to your wife and all the best.
Thanks a lot.
Even as you continue with all your work.